What is up, guys? It is the Sound Alchemist back at it again, bringing you those 40 facts on the universe of Warhammer 40k. So today we are talking yet again about the demonic engines of chaos. Now I'm still thinking about what type of army this chaos army will be, but I'm kind of leaning towards a Demon Forge army, meaning a bunch of demon engines, a bunch of demons, and some chaos space marines sprinkled in. But I'm not sure what allegiance to ally them with. I did a poll a few days back and you guys said Slaanesh, but I don't know how well Slaanesh mixes with the whole Demon Forge aspect of it. So I'm diving into Nurgle territory. So today I'm going to talk about the Myphitic Blight Hauler and a few more Nurgly demon engines just to see if they seem kind of cool. So without further ado, let's dive into this Nurgle lore. The Myphitic Blight Hauler is a type of light demon engine used by Nurgle, and it's usually affiliated with the Chaos warband, the Death Guard. They resemble a bloat drone that has been stripped of its turbines, and this strange machine has heavy weapons mounted on its carapace, typically a combination of multi-melta and missile launcher. Now these war machines are indeed alive, and should the enemy get too close, the Myphitic Blight Hauler falls upon them like a ravenous wolf, and it injects toxic filth with its fangs. Despite its small size, the Blight Hauler is well armored, and its blubbery flesh parts can soak up some pretty bad trauma. It possesses further defense mechanisms in the form of its keratinous spouts that protrude from its body. As it devours the filth and corpse matter carpeting the battlefield, this machine churns the accumulated foulness within, and toxic gases and fumes build within its internal engines until it spews them forth in billowing clouds. The wretched stink of this natural gas is enough to render nearby enemies unconscious or send them into uncontrollable fits of vomiting. Meanwhile, the moistened matter borne upon the clouds hangs thick in the air, veiling the Myphitic Blight Hauler and any nearby units behind an obscuring curtain of filth. In this way, packs of Myphitic Blight Haulers provide rolling smog banks of revolting cover for the Death Guard to advance, clogging the air with choking clouds of filth and pestilence, all in the name of Papa Nurgle. On the battlefield, the Death Guard commanders use packs of these demon engines to fill the role that Havocs or Obliterators might. The entities that inhabit the Blight Haulers are as loyal as hounds are to their masters, and they rushingly obey any instruction that they are given. They're also fast enough to keep in pace with the battle tanks of the Death Guard, while their smaller size and all-terrain mobility allows them to advance in even the densest or most difficult of environments. When combined with their potent marksmanship and their ability to wreath the Death Guard battle line in cover and fumes, it's not hard to see why these demon engines are so highly valued. Though lone Myphitic Blight Haulers are occasionally deployed to support the Death Guard, and they're most commonly seen in packs of 3, often referred to as the Tri-Lobes. These demon engines are bond instinctively with one another, hunting as a pack and running down venerable prey with killer instincts. And next up in the lineup of Nurgle demon engines is the Plagueburst Crawler. Now Plagueburst Crawlers are a type of heavy demon engine used by Nurgle and the forces of the Death Guard. They are designed to be the first Plagueburst Crawlers used by Mortarion as an act of spite. The Death Lord sought to create a mobile artillery piece that would outclass any comparative Imperial weapon, and thus demonstrate what the Death Guard's superiority is. For months he locked himself away in the smog-wreathed spires of the Black Manse on Plague Planet, obsessing endlessly over his foul brainchild, turning all of his remarkable intellect to this challenge. The resultant demon engine reflects well the values that the figure that created them. Plagueburst Crawlers are lumbering, formidable siege tanks whose huge ram blades, thick armor plating, and demonic energies provide them with incredible resilience. Their fearsome Plagueburst mortars boast a parabolic fire arc and a terrifying range, while the shells they fire contain high-radius explosives with lethal clouds of corrosive spores to inflict damage comparable to that of Imperial Demolisher cannons. Now the drawback to this weapon is its inability to fire at targets that are closer than its minimum range. However, the remainder of the Crawler's weaponry is intended to slaughter the foe up close, spraying both slime and hails of viral shells at any who dare approach it. There is a great effort required to bind a demon with each Plagueburst crawler, but once installed, the possessed entity tirelessly obeys their master, and by extension, the will of Mortarion. Plagueburst crawlers are not swift vehicles, even while running at full power, yet their advance is as grinding and relentless as the Death Guard themselves. They were intended to support infantry offensive, however Plagueburst crawlers plow forward like huge mechanical slugs, their mortars firing with meteoric regularity. An area under sustained bombardment from these weapons becomes so saturated with foul spore clouds that armor provides little protection, for the demonic spores corrode the thickest of adamantium plating. These hideous effects have made the Plagueburst crawler a much hated weapon of war in any panoply of war. Now before we end the video, I just had to put this guy out there. It is known as the Plague Reaper. So the Plague Reaper is a type of super heavy tank used by the Nurgle chaotic forces. It is essentially a corrupted Baneblade, a super heavy gurgling clouded fortress of pestilence and disease. Now it does have huge vats of slime which are mounted on the back of this vehicle, and they essentially feed the main weapon. The main weapon being a pus cannon, which fires a biological agent that causes the unfortunate victims to erupt in boils, and then their flesh is eaten away from the inside out. Also, the inside of this Baneblade corrupted creature is a bunch of Nurglings, which is surprise, surprise. But anyway, I just wanted to point this Plague Reaper out because its main tank weapon looks a lot like, well, you can see here. But anyway guys, that brings us to the end of this Nurgle Demon Engine lore. Now there's a few more Demon Engines out there that are Nurgle-esque, but I just wanted to focus mainly on the two before the Plague Reaper. So if I do dive into the Nurgle side of the Demon Forge, for sure I do want to use the Myphitic one, because I don't know, it just looks like a little crab, and that's pretty cool. Now we do take submissions, so if you guys have your own personal fan lore, you guys write some short stories, etc., send them on over to our Facebook page or email them to us at onemindsyndicate1@gmail.com. That's onemindsyndicate1@gmail.com. We do get a lot of these, so if we don't respond right away to you, or if we don't get to it in a while, that's because we probably got lost in the waves of emails or messages that we get, so bear with us. Hopefully we'll get to yours eventually, but again, Facebook's probably the easiest way to get in touch with us. Now that being said, we don't just have a Facebook page, we also have a Twitter, an Instagram, and a Patreon page. Now the Patreon page, it's only a simple $1, and you guys get some exclusive For the Greater Wall videos, as well as some creepypastas on there. And that $1 goes towards our giveaways. And speaking of giveaways, stay subscribed because we got some holiday ones coming at you. So hopefully you guys can win that. Now that's pretty much all I have to talk about. So stay subscribed for all this One Mind Syndicate goodness. And as always, I'm the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I'm out of here.